Most people today in their 20s don't have a clue about finances. We're now in a situation today where the average net worth of a 20-year-old is $6,609. And that's, of course, going to be the case when only 2 out of 5 people have financial literacy that are a young adult. So, in this video, I wanted to teach you the 5 most important things that you need to know financially in order to be successful. Who am I? I am a 24-year-old who is investing heavily and has a full-time job. I love investing and it's a huge passion of mine. And I create these videos for my younger self as advice on what I should have done and how I want to keep going forwards with my money. So here's what I want to cover. Number 1, saving money will not help you. 2, your knowledge is the real asset. 3, assets, liabilities, income, and expenses. Number 4, do your research always. And number 5, the longer you wait to invest, the worst. Saving money will not help you. Now, this one blows a lot of people's minds and it's a hard one to get through people's head. But at the end of the day, you've got to understand that money, it actually doesn't have value. Although it is used as a unit of exchange, what it is it's actually called fiat currency. Now, the definition of fiat currency is by decree or by trust. It means that the value of the dollar is determined purely by the trust that the people have in it and the trust that the government gives towards dollar. Now, the issue is you can save this dollar, but I don't understand why you'd save into something that is being printed exponentially in value. Here's the M2 money supply graph, and as you can tell, the supply has just continued to go upwards and upwards. And to give you a more disastrous bit of information, from 2020 to 2023, during the COVID crash, a quarter of all currency was printed into existence. Now, what this causes naturally is inflation. And it's no wonder that people in our 20s can't afford things. Rent is so expensive. Buying a house is nearly impossible. The house, yes, it's going up, but it's because the dollar that we're saving in goes backwards in value, making everything else more expensive. But anyway, the inflation rates aren't that low. They're very high. And the fact of the matter is that these numbers are faked. The real data is shown by the shadow stats, which uses inflation index based in the 1970s when things were less manipulated, shows an inflation rate of about 12.5%. That's the reality. Now I ask you this honestly, you look at grocery bills, your expenses, everything. Have they really gone up by 4% per year? The reality is things continue to get more and more expensive, and it's very easy to solve this. So I ask you this question. Why do you put money in something that's printed all the time? So your actual aim, and how I think today is you shouldn't be working for paychecks, but for assets. By putting money into something that grows by more than 12% per year, which is that inflation rate, it means the money that you're working for is actually going up. This was a critical lesson that I learned in my 20s, and it made me look at everything completely different. Now my aim is to consistently make sure that my money is outworking this inflation rate. I invest in gold, silver, and Bitcoin because these are assets that cannot be printed. They cannot be manipulated as much as the dollar, and I trust in them more than the dollar. Number 2, your knowledge is actually your biggest asset. At the end of the day, in order to understand how to invest, how to be financially literate, how to be able to do all these things with your money, you need to have the knowledge and the foundations behind you to be able to take the correct action. So I encourage everyone watching this video, do your studies, listen to the correct people, read books, listen to YouTubers like me if I help you, and be able to take the correct steps in the right direction. To help you out and to help my past self out, here are some of the books which I would have read to be able to understand what to do with your money and how to be more financially literate. Number 1, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This one teaches you about what an asset is, what a liability is, and cash flow. The idea that by investing into assets, and using those assets to increase your income, you create this flywheel effect, which I'll explain further on. Number two, The Big Print by Lawrence Lepard. This kind of goes back to point one, the idea that our dollar ultimately is losing value all the time because the amount that's printed. And it goes into why Bitcoin could be the solution for this. The main point of this book is to actually understand how worthless our dollar is, why you can't trust the government, why you need to take matters into your own hands with your money. And number three, The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Fantastic book for understanding what value investing is. Being able to find value in assets, being able to find assets that are undervalued, putting your money into it and getting out when it's overvalued. Fantastic book on understanding the fundamentals of investing. But ultimately, this is an investment in itself. Your knowledge and your understanding is what makes investments work. And by investing a lot of time into my knowledge, I've been able to get a lot better with my investments. Number three, assets, liabilities, incomes, and expenses. This is what we call balance sheets and income statements. These are critical things that you need to understand to be able to read your numbers and understand what your money is doing. So I'm going to give you a quick definition rundown. An asset is anything that you purchase that puts more money in your bank account over time. This can be things like stocks, like investment properties, like gold, silver, Bitcoin, anything that goes up more over time or gives you cash flow, which means more is going into your bank account over time. Number two, a liability. A liability is anything that does the opposite, takes money out of your account. This can be something like the home you live in, any form of debt, any kind of car that you have that has expenses, anything that's a constant expense that is forcing you to take money out of your account. This is something which is just pulling funds away from you. Then we have our income and expenses, which is very simple. Income is any kind of money that's earned from your assets or from working day to day. And expenses is any money that's taken out from purchases or expenses from your liabilities. Now, by being able to put these together, you can understand where real money is made and how the rich really make money. And by learning this, it really expanded my horizons. This is an income statement and a balance sheet. This is how money flows. So what we understand is that you have your income statement at the top, which has all your income and all your expenses. And the bottom are your balance sheets. These are the things that you've actually purchased or the debts that you have. Now, I can go through the poor or middle class, but what the rich do is what really brought my attention. They have a flywheel effect. This is where the assets that they buy continue to increase their income. They buy things like real estate, like stocks, like gold and silver, property, everything. And that increases their income. As their income increases, that means they have more money and they continue to put that extra money into more assets. So their income and assets continues to go round and round. They increase their assets, which increase their incomes. And that's how you actually create that passive income effect. By having enough assets that create cash flow, it's actually bigger, the amount of income that you have passively from your assets, than your expenses. This is something you really need to understand. And that's something that I'm grateful I understood. But understand financial literacy, understand how to read a balance statement, how to read an income statement, and build one of these for yourself. See where you're at. What assets do you have? What liabilities do you have? And where your income and expense is at. By being able to manage these, you will go a lot further. Number four, do your research always. Any kind of asset you're interested in buying, anything you're looking at, anything you want to buy, make sure you do your research. Today, there is so much financial advice around on what to buy, what the biggest asset is to buy in the future, what the new big investment is, and there's actually advice everywhere. I recommend before you make any kind of purchase, do some form of research, read a book, look at the balance statement of the stock, do genuine research. And what I do is when I invest, as I gain more knowledge in an asset, I buy more. As I gain confidence in what I understand in an asset, I'll continue to buy more. And by doing this, it means that when an asset goes down, because it isn't always going to go up, there's corrections along the way. It's not a beautiful upwards trajectory thing. Sometimes it does go down. If you have the knowledge behind you in the asset, you feel comfortable with it going down short term, and you trust that it will continue to go to the upside. That's why I'm happily able to sit in my investments for multiple years, and it's been able to do well for me. And when other people doubted the asset, I continued to sit in it, and it did well for me. This year, silver went up 95%, and people didn't really see this coming. I did my research. I understood why I believed it was going to go up, and from that, I've done really well. And number 5, the earlier you start, the better. This is to do with investing, and this is the compound effect of investing. I want to show you a few graphs. So let's say you invested $5,000 at the age of 20 years old, and let that grow by 10% per year to 70 years old. That's how old you'd be after 50 years. It equals $726,000. That's the compound effect, and it's one of the biggest things in terms of investing, and that's why you need to start early. If I just take 10 years off that $5,000, so instead you start at 30 years old and you wait until 70, you go from that $726,000 down to $263,000 just by taking 10 years off. What that means is you need to invest early, because the number of years that you wait is going to add up over time. This is known as a snowball effect, and as your investment grows over time, this snowball continues to turn more and more, and it gains more momentum. Now, I get it. It sucks investing at the start. You put in $3,000 as your first ever investment. It grows by 10%. You only get $300. And trust me, I understand that. Early days, it isn't the best thing. But you've got to get off zero. It is so important to just get started, because at the end of the day, you'll eventually get to the number where it starts mattering, the investment starts turning. And by putting that money in consistently and just starting, you're on the road to that snowball effect. And if I just add $150 per month to this monthly $5,000, to this $5,000 that we initially had for 50 years, it goes from $726,000 to $3.2 million. That's just by having deposits every month. So start early if you're investing. Get into assets and be able to study. So these are the 5 lessons I'd give to myself before I turned 25 years old. These are the 5 biggest things that I wish I had learned earlier. And now that I'm doing it, I'm taking action. My investments continue to grow. If you want more financial tips, if you need help with your investing journey, and you want help with self-improvement and finances, I'm here to help you. And this is what this channel is all about. I'm helping young men, young women be able to invest their money, because frankly, the financial literacy in this world has gone backwards. The school system has let us down, and we need to be able to understand what we're doing with our money. Please subscribe if you like this channel, and I can't wait to see you in future videos.